Hello, American. Welcome to another installment of our Freedom series, where we talk about what freedom is, what freedoms we actually have, and take a close look at our constitutional amendments. Right here, right now, on the lost art of common sense.
That's right, America. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Josh.
And this is the lost art of common sense. And this week, we'll be talking about the Second Amendment. Guns, guns, guns. That is a legitimate gun noise, if you didn't know. So this is part of our Freedom series, episodes 4 and 5. If you missed our First Amendment talk, go back to those and then jump to this one. Or, you don't have to do them in order. So you can watch this one first, then go back to them. And you're like, if you think we're smart about this, and you're like, hey, maybe we'll jump to the first one, see what they had to say about that.
These guys really look like they know what they're talking about.
Josh, that's an outfit, buddy.
It is. If I had any military experience, I might say I'm eighth-ass kitted out. But since I don't, I like to call it technical LARPing or tactical LARPing.
That's tactical LARPing. Would you use Nerf guns for that, or?
Yes.
Yes.
Possibly airsoft.
Yeah, you gotta go with airsoft. I mean, why have full body armor for a Nerf? Yeah,
I know. I mean, the airsofts hurt, so.
So you got a metal plate in there, don't you?
No,
Two
this
of
is
them.
ceramic. Ceramic.
Is it from your toilet?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
I had to fill the vest somehow.
So, as usual, we will start this episode. I'll read the Second Amendment, then we'll go into questions, comments, stuff like that afterwards. So, here we go. Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to security of the free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Josh, what do you think? What's your general sense on what that means?
Well, I think it's intentionally short and blunt because it basically means, and I know it was pointed out in a Supreme Court case, that the commas in that sentence are stops. So I know people are like, well, if you're not in a well-regulated militia, you shouldn't have a gun. That is not what that means. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, it's saying a well-regulated militia is necessary for the security of a free state. In order to have that, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So if they get called up or whatever, because back in the Revolutionary War, you had people that were part of the actual military, and then you had militias along with them. And that's what that brought in for. There's not a whole lot of gray. That's why I don't understand why there's so much controversy about the Second Amendment.
I agree with you there. I don't know why there's so much being brought up about Second Amendment and why it's such a controversial amendment. Obviously, guns are going to be controversial in general, but the Second Amendment is pretty clear on what it states. So I don't understand how you can read between the lines on it. So I agree with you on everything you said there. Why do you think the Founding Fathers wrote the Second Amendment? What do you think their meaning was for it?
The Founding Fathers did a lot of research into different types of government that have been tried throughout history, and they chose Republic for a reason, but they also studied human nature, and almost every empire or whatever has fallen. England's still around, but England's not the world empire that it was. It fell, and now it's coming back from what it was. But there's always people that try to eventually think they know a better way of doing something, or my way's the, only way to do it. And in order for people to truly be free, your government needs to be in fear of the people. Because we govern ourselves. So if the government starts overreaching and stuff like that, that's what I feel the Second Amendment is for. It's to keep ultimately to keep the government in check.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's absolutely that reason. I think it's so the government doesn't overreach without pissing off the citizens. If you're a dictator, you can piss off your citizens every day, and they can't actually do anything because they don't have weapons. Because obviously, if you're a dictator, you're not going to let your citizens have guns. So I think for a republic to work, you do need weapons to control the government overreach. I mean, the government overreaches anyways, but this will keep it from militarizing and doing a de facto martial law on the people. I think that's kind of what it was. Also, I think they did it because they just fought for their freedom. The founding fathers did from England. So, they're like, well, in the future, we don't want this country to be what England is right now. So, we want to make sure the citizens have a way to change the government if need be.
Yeah, I think that was in the Freedom Papers. Is that what it's called? There's I need to read into it more, but there's kind of an explanation of everything from some of the founding fathers and what they actually meant, which is another reason why there's no excuse for them bending our freedoms. But that's what it's for. It's to protect the United States citizens' freedom against enemies, foreign and domestic and tyrannical. The first thing any dictator has ever done that has crushed, even a somewhat free people, is they disarm them. That's what happened in Germany. That's probably, I'm assuming it happened in Russia. I'm not up on a Russian history, but that's the first thing to go. I
don't think Russia was ever free enough to have its citizens have guns.
That's true. They kind of went from a...
They went from a czar.
Yeah, they were kind of a monarchy, weren't they?
Yeah, something like that.
And then they went into communism, but... you cannot control an armed populace, iron fist control. You can manipulate them, which is kind of what's happening to us. But that, and it's not okay, everybody grab guns and blah blah. But it's always in the back of the mind, okay, if we go too far, and it's also granted, we talk about our government a lot because of all the crazy stuff going on, but there's a reason why during World War II and stuff like that the U.S. has never been, had to deal with a land incursion, after we won the revolution, and there was a French and Indian War and stuff like that. But modern U.S. hasn't been invaded.
Border skirmishes.
Yeah.
Border skirmishes mostly with Mexico.
Yeah, but...
Or, I think that, at that time it was Spanish and the French area control.
Well, yeah, because there were different countries that claimed different parts of the United States, and then we were kind of nope, we're our own thing.
Once we were actually established, the full country, I think that's when, I don't think there's ever really been a major war. I think maybe, was it war 1812? Was it? Yeah.
Possibly.
That's probably about it.
But today, you're not going to have a foreign, I guess possibly somebody might try it, but you're probably not going to have a foreign incursion on U.S. soil. At least not in certain states.
One, it's yeah. One, not just the logistics. We're surrounded by two oceans. But yeah, being we have, I think, 390 million guns in the U.S. Towards its American citizens.
400.
I think that'd be a bad idea.
I think the ammo amongst civilians is in the over $1 trillion too. There's, it's just not a good idea, and I think people know that.
It's not. So yeah. Speaking of the founding fathers, a lot of people say, the founding fathers couldn't conceive of the weapons we have today. Do you think there should be restrictions on what guns and type of equipment law-abiding citizens should be able to buy? Let's say full auto guns, tanks, planes, just military.
Nope. I mean,
that's short and sweet.
The whole point of the Second Amendment, and people can say whatever they want, like, oh, they didn't know what was going to come, blah, blah. It's like, okay, when they wrote the Second Amendment, they had the most advanced weaponry that there was. They may have been muskets and cannons and warships, but all is...
Well, you can't even own a cannon, really, without a special license anymore.
It's such crap. Unless it's, like, so old. If it's considered an antique and you can't fire it.
Yeah, I would love to just have a cannon and be able to roll.
You can own a Gatling gun.
Second floor window.
Yep.
Can you really? Is it semi-automatic?
No,
Is that why?
It's automatic. But it's the age. Like, you can actually own a machine gun that was manufactured...
I think you own a machine gun before like 1910.
No, it's 1980 something. It's when the National Firearms Act
before the
went in.
law. Oh,
I think 1980.
Oh yeah, 1994. I think 1994 is when the Firearms
the
Act went in.
Maybe not. I don't know. I just know that if it's pre that,
look it up.
You can own it. So if you can get your hands on it, and they're going to be stupid expensive. But like an M16 from the Vietnam War, you can own it. You're going to have to register it, but I don't think you should have to register shit either.
I don't know.
Nope.
I don't think so either.
If you have a tank or a jet,
who doesn't,
then it makes sense because you have to get a license plate for it. You have to register it to drive your tank on the road. Right. That makes sense.
Or fly your plane, because you have to have it registered for
I understand
air
all
traffic
that.
Control.
But I mean,
I agree. I agree on the guns because the government shouldn't know. I don't think the government should know who and who doesn't have guns, and that's going to be a little controversial part of this whole episode. People want more regulations. They want people, they want registration. So gun registered in case it was used in a crime. But most people who commit crimes are, they're not good people. They're not going to buy a registered gun anyways. So I agree. It's a way to control the populace, and if they ever do make some bullshit law where they try to take your gun away, or make some, all of a sudden there's a dictator somehow pops up in America, they know exactly which houses to hit first.
Well, and the ATF actually recently got in trouble for... the way I understand it is there's not really a gun registry, and I don't think actually anything gets sent to the ATF until, like, if you have an FFL and you sell somebody a gun, you have their name, serial number, and the date they bought it. If you ever lose your FFL or you give it up, you're supposed to send all the paperwork to the government. Well, apparently they had all these papers in a room, and there were so many, red-blooded, freedom-loving Americans that bought guns that the floor collapsed in the building from the weight of the paper. So,
holy shit.
Yeah, so they were like, we need to do something about this. So they digitized it, and then they did something to where you could, when you digitize something, it's easy to make like a database set to where you can look stuff up, and they got in trouble for that because that will be considered a registry, and they got in trouble for that. I don't know if they're undoing it, but that was a thing that happened.
So obviously, like I said, criminals aren't using, registered guns. Why do you think the government do you think it's to know who you think it's more nefarious reason that they want regulate or registration on guns?
Well, this may sound a little crazy because of what I'm wearing, but I think the problem with having a registry for guns is if they ever decide to crack down and start taking people's firearms away, they can just do it one person at a time. You take it, you go grab that, you do that, and I don't understand why you need a registry for guns. Because if you own a firearm and you lose it or it's stolen, you should have a log somewhere with your serial numbers, and you report that to the police right away. That way, you're off the hook.
Well, any responsible gun owner
you should have a log of all your serial numbers, not with your guns. And that way, if it's ever lost, if it's lost or stolen, you're not doing your job correctly. But you can let people know, you can let the authorities know that, hey, my gun was stolen, this serial number, blah, blah, blah.
Most of my guns are locked up, but I mean, there's one that I keep for home protection outside the lockbox. So I guess somebody broke into my house. I mean, it's still not easy to find. I know where it is. It's not like under my pillow or anything. Although, no, I'd probably shoot myself that way. I'm a tosser when I sleep. I toss and turn.
Everybody.
Who knows? Who knows what happens?
Like, generally, you might, if you don't have kids, I would not have a nightstand gun if you have kids. That needs to be in a lockbox. But yeah, if I'm at home, like I might have we don't have kids around the house, so I might have one in my end table or something like that. But I'm not super paranoid where I always have my gun around me, but I know where it's at.
Yeah, exactly.
Quick access.
And, every so often you gotta do a nice house pop.
House pop.
Yeah, go outside. Pull a few rounds off just to keep that property.
Yeah, that is super legal.
Down.
And that little advice that old Joe Biden gave back in the day, just go out on the front porch and fire off a 12 gauge. Yeah, that is super legal. Never do that. That is a great
illegal
video, by the way, that somebody made. Turn that into a song. So, yes.
Is it really? I wish we could.
I'm going to send it to you. We'll put it on Twitter or something because it's just great. Buy a shotgun.
That'd be awesome.
Buy a shotgun.
Freaking awesome.
Buy a shotgun, baby. It's great. They auto-tuned them.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
I don't know. I got to see it. I'll send it to you. It's fantastic. It's just funny. I don't even care what side you're on. It's just they took them talking about buy a shotgun and fire rounds off of your front porch in the air, which is illegal no matter where you are, and they auto-tuned it and turned it into a song. It's great. It's fantastic.
That is fantastic. I need to see this. I'm assuming it's going to be awesome.
Epic.
So check it out, everybody, because
just look up Joe Biden buy a shotgun song. It's great.
All right, a lot of cities have extremely tight gun control laws. They're Chicago, New York, LA. Do you think if they loosened those restrictions that the cities would be safer for law-abiding citizens, or do you think it would be an increase in crime as the people who are against guns suggest? Or do you think there would be no change? You think
so? Are you asking if they changed the laws to where everyday citizens?
Yeah, they're super strict right now, to where it's super hard to get a gun in Chicago. To get especially a conceal and carry, it's almost impossible to even so to get conceal and carry anywhere.
It's actually easier to carry in Illinois if you have an out-of-state license. You can only carry concealed in your car, but it's easier for that than an in-state resident to get a license.
Yes, and I think Chicago's even doubled down on that. What is it? I don't even know what Chicago's gun laws are. I probably should look that up beforehand. But I know they're extremely strict. Do you think they loosen those restrictions? Do you think crime would actually go down, or do you think it would stay the same, or do you think it would
more firearms in responsible, law-abiding citizens' hands will lower crime rates? I know that because there's actually data to support it. If you have more granted, a lot of the violence in Chicago is gang-related, so it's those are gangs fighting each other. But home invasion and stuff like that, someone's going to think twice before breaking into somebody's house if they know. That's in Texas. We still have home invasions every now and again, but there's a decent chance you're breaking into somebody's house and they're going to have a gun. So is whatever you're going in there to steal worth potentially losing your life over?
I think I saw on a website I checked out this morning. I was kind of checking out, obviously a little bit of research, not a whole lot.
Not me. I'm shooting from the hip.
Subjects we do, but I perused around because I was looking for questions to ask you and stuff. England has a higher crime rate for theft, rape, assault, almost 3 times as high, I think, as the United States. But our murder rate is 15% higher than theirs. So I don't know what to make of it. I thought it was an interesting,
Yeah, and like it's
fact.
now you need to look at like what the murder or like murder rates from guns or just murder rate period. I mean, it's because it's
Just
like
murder rate period.
the weird thing is
It was like per 100,000 citizens. I think ours was like 3.9, or it might have been even lower than that. I think it's like 3.9 people in through 100,000, and theirs was at like
I just
2 point
like
something.
I know that there's. Well, here's what I don't understand. So, the big push for gun control is they're trying to get AR-15s and semi-automatic rifles out of people's hands, which is a very small fraction of the gun deaths in the United States every year. Like, overwhelming majority of all gun deaths in the United States are committed by a handgun. Pew pew. So, I don't know. I mean, granted, we're a freer country. I think, in general, well, we're a freer country, but there's also, I would be interested in seeing how Europe is dealing with their citizens that have mental illness, because I know we're not doing the best job on that. And I'm not saying it's a correlation, but I'd be interested to see, since we kind of, we used to like, and I don't know, the conditions might have been bad, but we used to like pick people up, assess them, and if they needed help, they got help. Now we don't really do that anymore. Like, you better start acting right, or the people in the white suits are going to come take you away. I heard that a couple times. But obviously I didn't learn.
Yeah, there's very few. Yeah, obviously you can tell.
I love G.I. Joes.
You're lucky. You're lucky they shut down a lot of psychiatric institutes because. Sorry,
Yep,
but
I dodged the Bellevue bullet.
But that is it. I mean, they did shut down a lot of psychiatric institutes. I'm sure, like, they weren't run by some of the greatest people. Some of them
institution.
And there probably was.
Well, and I think any
I think the
government
funding went out.
institution, if you look at any of them, they always end up being they all have their problems. I mean, and mistreated and stuff like that. That's why.
And it's hard to find people to donate, like, for a private.
Yeah, it's not like you're getting the best of the best.
So.
But I would be interested to see, like, okay, why is like the home invasion, rape, and stuff like that higher in Europe, but our murder rates higher here? Like, is it because we're that, or I mean, and we are a freer country. There are guns here. They are easier to get. I mean, if you don't want to buy one in a store legally, it's not like criminals aren't going to like Cabela's to buy a gun. So, but when you live in a freer country, you are going to have risk. If you don't have risk, then give up all your rights and just do whatever the government tells you to do. But don't do that, because that would be horrible.
So, what would happen, what do you think, in this country if the Second Amendment was abolished? You had to turn all your guns, and everybody complied, and everything, all of a sudden, no citizens had guns, we are England, basically. Do you think, how long do you think, would we transition, do you think, into a more tyranny type of government, which transitions to probably some socialist hellhole to communism? Or do you think we would basically be where we're at right now, only without guns?
I believe that every day would start with a glistening rainbow, and the utopia that has been so longed for will finally be realized. Or we may become Australia 2.0.
Oh, Australia's a hellhole right now.
Exactly. You know why? Because it gave up all their guns.
Yeah, big dummies. What, they get like $100 per gun or something?
I don't know.
They
You
get
didn't give them
a
up.
free
and took
kangaroo steak or something. I don't know.
Oh, and what happened after that? Oh, home invasion skyrocketed, and stabbings went up.
Oh, the government made you be in your house because of COVID.
We can't do nothing about it.
During Omicron, the least deadly of the COVIDs.
I'm just saying, if it's not like you don't own guns to one day take up arms against your fellow countrymen or whatever. It's just like a a backstop. It's like it's always there. I'm like, oh, we can't push them too far because of the guns. Like, because you never know.
I agree. I think if the Second Amendment was taken away, and this is how I see things playing out, is everybody's like celebrating, oh, no more guns, woo, you know. Hey, all you pansies that, you know, are afraid of guns and think they walk and shoot people, you'll be celebrating, you know, flowers in the air, you know, all that shit. And I think within 10 years, I think the government's going to assume more and more control, and we'll become some kind of socialist country to begin with, because that's how.
I think we would skip if we gave up all our firearms and they got rid of the Second Amendment, we would probably skip right over the socialist part.
You think this is right to communism?
Yes. Then what are you going to do? Like, look at what they're doing, and it's been a slow creep. It's not just Democrats. It's not just Republicans. If you just go back, and not even that long, a couple decades, maybe 3-4 decades, it's been this slow creep and push to keep taking more control. And yeah, so if they got rid of the Second Amendment and all the guns were picked up, it'd be whatever the heck they wanted.
We're obviously, I think, one of the greatest experiments the world has ever seen, our republic, to where I don't think it's ever been done this way. I mean, I know Rome was technically a republic, the Roman Empire, but, you know, their citizens, you know, they had the elected officials, but they were corrupt as fuck. As ours are, but ours have, you know. But then they, you know, then Caesar took over, or Caesar. So, you know, then all of a sudden became a oligarchy type of thing. So the reason our republic does work is because of, I believe, our Second Amendment. And I think that is our Second Amendment, I believe, well, I think it's the second most important amendment we have in our country. I think the First Amendment, I think it might be more important than the First Amendment, actually.
The only reason why the First Amendment is more important than the Second Amendment is because the First Amendment allows you to air your grievances, work things out, so the Second Amendment isn't needed. But there's a reason why it's number 2.
I think the Second Amendment is more important because it backs the First Amendment. Be like, you can write the First Amendment, but if you didn't have the Second Amendment, the government doesn't have to, you know, it doesn't have to do shit, you know.
That's true.
It can do whatever it wants. So all of our amendments are basically backed by the Second Amendment, because there's consequences if the government overreaches and takes away an amendment. Except for, I mean, unless they want to overreach and take away the fucking tax amendment, then that'd be fine.
I am totally cool with that one.
Yeah, because fuck taxes.
Appeal that crap.
You know, I'll pay taxes, but I'm not happy about it.
Or if I'm willing to trek over to Afghanistan and collect some of that $80 billion worth of military equipment and able to get back with it, I get to keep it.
Okay. Ooh.
I'm just saying, seems like a fair trade. They gave it up.
Like a fair trade. Like, if you're paying to get it back here, you know, whether it's better in your hands than some Afghani rebel, or
well,
not
technically
rebel, but just like a Taliban.
Well, we paid for it and paid to send it over.
Yeah,
there,
I'm just taking my share, you know, from what I paid for. So this tank is mine. I brought it over here. It's mine. This Black Hawk helicopter is now mine.
Exactly. That might take a while to figure out how to get that back, but I'm just saying. Yeah.
They disabled them, right?
No.
They didn't? I thought they had.
You didn't see the videos of them flying around in the helicopters?
Do they know how to fly them, or is this some dude just jumping?
No, they brought in pilots.
Okay. I thought they're just like some dude's like, I got this.
No, and see, here's what I don't understand.
Hold my beer.
Let's say, I can take care of this. But what I don't get, though, is if you're going to say you make a really bad mistake, like, hey, let's pull the military out of a country before we pull the citizens out. Like, let's say someone actually made a monumentally stupid decision like that. And then you abandon one of the most fortified bases in an area and left all your shit there. Why the heck wouldn't you bomb the crap out of that base? At least to destroy as much of the stuff you're leaving behind as possible. That made 0 sense.
I feel there's enough ordnance there where they could have done that.
Yeah, they could have either detonated it themselves because of well, I don't know. They didn't have a lot of troops there, but I'm sure there was a demolition expert there. Or I'm pretty sure we had a missile that could have hit the place because we got a lot of them, and they're pretty smart. They're called smart bombs.
Yeah, blowing shit up is probably the best option for, and I don't know why we didn't do it, but it seems like there's probably one firebomb guy that, some crazy a-hole over there that probably loves blowing shit up, and, just send him around with a couple guys and just blow up our shit that we're not taking, but nope. Let's give it to the Taliban, because our government's super smart.
Well, and you think that, like, are you telling me we don't have anything on an aircraft carrier or a destroyer or a submarine that they could have launched? And I mean, if the people are flooding into that base after we've abandoned it to grab our firearms, I'm going to go ahead and say that they shouldn't be there, and even put out a warning: hey, we're blowing this place up. Might not want to come in. I'm just saying that's what I might have done.
Yeah, I would have had some kind of exit strategy to where we didn't leave a bunch of ordnance and make them like the seventh largest, I think, helicopter. I think our helicopters made them like the seventh or maybe even the fifth strongest air force in the world.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I mean they have to know how to fly them and stuff, but yeah, just the equipment we left there definitely made us,
Well, and I think the real bad thing is like our communication software and stuff like that. And our, I mean, we left stuff with like BioTrack, that they take these people's pictures and they make like a bio print of them so they can track them. And like they gave all that up. So like, and they did that with everybody. So if they were helping us, that was in that. So if they cracked those, there's going to be a lot of people in trouble. But
I think, yeah, they were super worried about that, like people were. And, I don't know. Another failure from our current administration. And, they constantly blame the previous administration because they had a deadline. Like, we're America. If we don't meet our deadline, fuck off. We'll get there when we get there.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What's going to happen? The Taliban going to rush into the country and what?
Well, Trump did push his deadline, though, because the Taliban kept breaking their agreement.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that at some point they broke their agreement between when we actually said we're going to leave or not, like when they started taking over cities before we left.
Yeah, so I don't know.
We should just, I don't know. Whatever, we'll
you know what? Who cares about Taliban's guns, Kevin? Let's talk about our guns. What else you got?
Those are, because they are our guns.
Those are our guns.
All right. How the hell? All right. I don't know how we got to that.
It was relevant.
Because the Second Amendment, I think we started talking about cities and shit, then we went off and off and off.
No, I said I wanted to go over there and grab a bunch of stuff we left, and if I can get back with it, it should be mine without any registration, nothing. It's like, I did the work, they're mine.
Oh, that's when I asked if the 2A was taken away, but somehow we got on that.
It was important.
Basically, so in summary, if Second Amendment was taken away, you think we'd delve into communism pretty fast?
I would say probably like, if you were looking at a historical timeline, in a blink of an eye. I'd like to say that we wouldn't, but no. People in power are always people in power. The only thing that keeps them in check is people not putting up with it.
Yeah. That makes sense. And I mean,
does it make common sense, Kevin? Does it make common sense?
It makes common sense.
Yeah.
Common sense.
Common sense.
Common sense, people. That's what we're about. Right there. Common sense. I am super out of shape because I am not flexible at all.
I'm a little winded from leaning back.
That kind of hurt. But I do it for you people because I love our audience.
You're awesome.
I probably don't like some of you, but I'm never going to tell you to your face.
I like everybody.
I do like everybody, I think. I don't know. I don't know half our people or who's actually listening. But thank you. Like, subscribe, share, comment,
Review 5 stars.
5 stars.
All right, so
all that
end
stuff.
of tangent 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Where were we? Oh, yeah. Boop, boop. All right. Do you think, because of our guns, and I think you alluded to this right at the beginning, that we are safer from foreign invaders because the common citizen can have firearms?
I would say 100%. Like I said, we're not exactly sure what the heck's going on in Russia, but I do know or not Russia, but Ukraine with Russia. But we do know that has been slowed down quite a bit because of citizens taking up arms and defending their country. Well, there are probably people in the United States that kind of half-ass long for a land incursion to happen in the United States. It's like, finally!
I'm not going to lie. Is that what the body armor's for, Josh? Was that what it was for?
I'm just going to say that if something like that were to happen, there might be a big, I don't know. I'm not going to be all like caught off guard.
There you go.
I'm just saying,
yeah,
you're not like, yeah, I think that's a huge deterrent because you might be able to because I've thought about it before. And if we ever did get into a full on war and people were coming over here and they're bringing people, they might be able to control some of the coastals. I don't think there's any way that, because I think Florida's got quite a bit of guns too. I think our southern, the Gulf, I don't think you could do. Possibly the east and west coast and stuff like that. But the United States is too big, too many people, way too many guns. And not just 22s and stuff like that. There are some people that have some serious firepower in this country.
And I think if it's going to happen, I think it's either going to happen from Mexico or Canada. Because I think if somebody invades Mexico, I mean, obviously the U.S. would stop it, but I think...
Wait, did you just say if there was an invasion coming from Mexico, the U.S. would stop it? Because didn't the Border Patrol just stop a bunch of people on the terror watch list?
Yes.
Which technically, that does mean that they did stop it. And Psaki said that, that means they're doing their job. But what about the 2,000 people a day that make it through?
Yeah, what about the people they don't stop?
Yeah, see, that's so technically.
And if you wanna learn a little bit about the border invasion, listen to our previous episode
on the border disorder.
Yeah. So, I think if let's say Russia was trying, let's do a land incursion, I think they'd come through Canada for sure. One, it's just.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's from...
I mean, they would go through... They'd take Alaska first.
When you said we have two oceans separating us, the gap between Alaska and Russia really isn't that big.
Yeah, but I think that part of Russia is... I don't think it's very popular.
Oh, no,
that's a
frozen hellhole.
Yeah, I think we would obviously, by our satellites, be able to know if they want to start... if they're arming... sending troops that way.
Do Space Force.
Space Force. God, I wish we had spaceships.
We're this close, Kevin. We're this close.
I'm going to be dead before I can go to Mars. That's bullshit.
We got the Dragon ship from Elon Musk and the inappropriately shaped rocket from Bezos.
Oh, my God. Have you ever seen Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
I have seen a lot of them. I don't know if I've seen the one you're talking about.
This guy's... I don't know. It's called the Dickisode.
Well, I'm gonna look it up.
And you gotta watch it because this dude is I don't know. That's the craziest fucking cartoon I've ever seen in my life. Because this dude just starts cutting off dicks and he's trying to make a spaceship made out of dicks. It's in the shape of a dick. That's the first thing I thought when I saw Bezos' fucking...
If someone were to skip around in this episode and land on this point, they'd be like, what does this have to do with 2A?
I'm not even sure where it does, but I'm just saying it was so ridiculous. This guy is a dick. I mean, that's what he is. He's a dick that talks. Yeah. Oh my God. There's like these little hairs coming off them, kind of like People of Earth. Like
You watched it. Yeah. See? I told you.
Yeah, I did.
Fantastic show.
It was a fantastic show. Or it is. I'm still on the second season. I just
Was
started.
canceled way too early. Bring it back.
But yeah, if Russia was going to invade, I think it had to be through Canada, Alaska through Canada. Obviously, by that point, I don't know. Canada's pretty much a dictatorship in itself. They might just let them through.
That is true. They'd be like, you know what? We like you guys now. We like the way you do things.
Yeah, so I don't think they would, because I don't think you want to go through the upper Midwest and to get to America.
No, but and see, I think I don't think a uniformed like soldier incursion would definitely be the wrong way to go. I mean, like the zombie apocalypse, you know who your target is.
Yeah, when you're just dropping into America, you don't know who the hell's going to be shooting at you. I mean, it's probably going to be partially the military, but there's also going to be, I'm sure, a few people taking a pot shot.
Well, and like at that point, if something like that actually happened, and like we were under like
Red Dawn style.
Yeah, like if we were under martial law or something like that, then like at that point, if you walk up to someone's house, or you're going down someone's street, and you're just gonna know. It wouldn't turn out well for anyone who tried to invade the continental United States, because true red-blooded Americans. America!
America! So, I think we could say the same thing. Like we've alluded to this a lot. The government, that's obviously keeping the government in check as well. I think our own government, foreign and domestic, is part of the deal. Is how I feel. What happens if 2A was never existed? Like they didn't write it. They didn't think about it. Just left it out. What do you think America would be like right now? Do you think we would have survived this long? Do you think we would have been invaded by we'd be Nazis, or we'd be, Russian, whatever, controlled, or do you think America would have sustained anyhow?
If we didn't have the Second Amendment.
Like, it never happened. Never happened. Like, they went from 1 to 3, or 1 to whatever.
I'd like to think that the progression from where it originally started kind of would have happened, but it would have fallen off at some point. Especially now it depends on how you go with that. If it was just like, okay, they didn't do the Second Amendment because they're just like, they just thought like, oh, well, this is obvious. You have the right to protect yourself. You have the right to protect your newfound country against any tyrannical overlord, foreign or domestic.
But according to the government, it's not obvious.
Well, but what I'm saying is, like, back then, they may have thought that. And,
let's just say they skipped over it.
It's not going to be a big deal. Like, then, it may have gone okay for a while, but without that stopgap, because the reason why we have a Supreme Court is because the federal government is always trying to overreach.
Yeah, but the Supreme Court anymore is just a pawn of the
It's political.
branch.
Yeah, it's a political thing. And here's what I don't understand. The Supreme Court's broken because every Supreme Court decision should be 9-0. Period. They're all get there, and they're all supposed to, decide whether or not something is constitutional or not. So if you have a 5-4 decision, that means 5 or 4 people aren't doing their job, because the Constitution isn't that complicated. And if it doesn't fall under the constitutional power of the federal government, it gets pushed to the states. And if it doesn't fall under the state's constitutional government, it gets pushed to the people. That's how our government works. End soapbox rant. Soapbox!
Soapbox.
You know what's going to happen, Kevin.
You're going to put a soapbox?
You're learning about post-editing.
Hey, I like the star.
You're welcome. I hope I helped you feel special.
Hey. You did, and I threw it away. So
you
fast.
sent it back into the stars.
I did. That's how stars are made.
Brethrens.
That's a true fact. So, do not look it up. Stars are made by post edits and me throwing them up in the sky. So
every time you look up at those twinkly little lights,
you thank me when you look up and you're like, that constellation was made.
But yeah, to your question, if there was no such thing as a Second Amendment, we would not be where we're at now. And I think the whole world would be worse off for it.
I think so too. I think at some point, I think we would have gone to a one world government, and that one world government would have pretty much destroyed the world.
I'm going to go out on a limb here,
common populace,
and say that. See, I don't know. It's hard to butterfly effect stuff, but what kind of country we would have been, and what kind of fighting spirit we would have had during World War I and II? Would we all be speaking German now? We don't know, because people don't seem to fight as vigorously. Like, the fighting spirit of America, I think, has come from the fact that we're free people. So you're not just fighting for your country; you're fighting for yourself and your family, and you're part of the country. You rule yourself. That's what we're supposed to be. We don't have rulers; we have representatives, but we rule ourselves. So when you're fighting for your country, you're literally fighting for yourself. And I think. I don't know if we would have had that if we didn't have the Second Amendment, because you never know what could have happened. Because we had some pretty shitty presidents in the past. So
absolutely. Let me ask you this: if the Second Amendment didn't happen, do you think it would have natural progression would have made it happen? Do you think, do you think it would have been, let's say, a later amendment at some point? Do you think that's a natural progression of America? If it wasn't written at first, do you think at some point it would have, or do you think the government at some point, it just got more and more totalitarian? Or do you think do you think Second Amendment would have happened at some point if it didn't happen right away?
It's hard to tell, because I think if it made it that long without having any major impact, I would almost bet money that if we didn't have the Second Amendment, as soon as the Civil War was done, all civilian firearms would have been confiscated, just to prevent any further uprisings or any. Because that's how that stuff works. So, nope, only uniformed officers and police and stuff like that will have firearms, and then to prevent any future potential civil war, we are going to take all your guns for the betterment of the state. So then that would have, I think, if you were to have to, it would be hard to institute something like the Second Amendment after the fact without some type of violence. You know what I mean? They're not going to be like, yeah, here you go. We're going to give the citizens of our country the right to keep and bear arms. Because the people that are representatives, a lot of them, they get, they sound cool, and then they get there, and then they're not cool. They're tools.
They are tools.
It makes me sad, Kevin.
It does make me sad. So let me ask you this, because you brought this up earlier, and I was going to ask you then, but then we got on one of our tangents, and I didn't. Is there hypocrisy in the fact that certain people who are against guns are cheering that the Ukrainian citizens were handed guns and are fighting for their country?
Yeah, and I don't think they realize what they're doing, because it's like, well, the only way. Well, and they could be like, well, no, once the government deems the time is right for a citizen to have a gun, then it's cool. I mean, that might be their argument. But, citizens fighting for their country, it's a heck of a lot easier and a heck of a lot faster if the citizens already have the guns.
Yes.
I think we should get a yearly stipend of bullets from the federal government every year.
Ooh, I would take my if I would take my tax refund in bullets.
I think that's fine.
They should have that as a check mark. Would you like it in cash?
That should be an option.
Or bullets?
I know back during
I wonder if can you get it for a discount?
Well, I feel like you should, because I think, wasn't it during the Obama administration, military bought up it was like in the trillions of bullets of ammo, which caused a little price
Give me
spike.
a few. They can give me a few bullets.
Yeah, I'd be totally fine with that.
I take bullets over cash.
You know why? Because Amber talks about
not this year.
Well, it's funny how we talk about we should be able to own a full auto and stuff like that. Well, I have an Echo trigger, and let me tell you something. They're kind of fun until you realize how fast you're just burning through cash. They're not practical. You can't aim worth a shit. If you're even a full auto Echo, if your gun is firing at rapid fire, it is very hard to aim, and they're fun for a while, and then you're like, you know what? No, because I don't like seeing my dollar bills flying out my barrel of my gun, especially at that rate.
It'd be different. It'd be different if you're rich.
Oh, I guess if you're rich, you didn't care. Yeah, but no, I don't.
Yeah, but I do care because prices of bullets kind of went down since 2020 or whenever they've really spiked.
Yeah, I mean
they've gone down a little bit.
There's still more,
but now the price of everything else is has also gone up to where it's still unaffordable and it's bullshit.
That is true.
Not unaffordable. I mean, he's got a budget for it.
Yeah, but I only buy 1,000 rounds
bullets,
at a time.
Budget for bullets.
If you ain't buying 1,000 rounds at a time, you're just pretending. Which is why I don't buy ammo very often.
Yeah. I think in conclusion of our 2A part, I don't think, unless you have anything more you want to say about the Second Amendment, do you have any questions for me? Do you have anything you want to throw out there?
No, well, okay, so
the Second Amendment or news about the Second Amendment, or
the last thing that I'll ask you about, since you're kind of a hunter, like you always hear about people talking about you don't need 30 rounds to go hunting and this or that. I think we kind of covered it, but like, why do they keep making references to hunting and stuff like that?
There's no correlation. There is no correlation. Obviously, I mean, there are times when I'm duck hunting that, I'd like a few extra bullets in the round because you have to put a plug in because there is regulations on how many bullets you can have in your gun for duck hunting.
I did not know that. And
yeah, you can't have a full, I think, most shotguns 6? Full 6 shells?
Yeah, unless you get the TS-12 Tavor.
So I think you can only have 4 when you're duck hunting.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't understand the reason, but you can. I think it's part of their, control for, population control for the ducks, so you don't kill. But you also have a slot limit, so it might be for that reason, so you don't go over the slot limit of how many you kill. Because I'm just blasting away. But still, it has no correlation between what does it matter how many bullets I have or how many it can hold. What does it matter? It's not your gun. It's my gun. I have the right to have it. I should be able to, have 1,000 round fucking handgun that's, big old thing, like a Gatling gun. I can just
Well, when I found too, unless
it doesn't matter. I mean, 30 rounds, 50 rounds, 100 rounds. I can tell you what, if a crazy person is going to do something, they're going to do it with either multiple clips or...
they're called magazines, Kevin. Don't be that guy.
Multiple magazines.
There you go.
Or, one large magazine, multiple magazines. It doesn't matter.
Well,
he's going to do what he's going to do.
If somebody wants to kill somebody, they're going to... If a madman wants to create carnage, they're going to create it one way or the other, whether it be through guns, cars, a bomb, whatever. Okay, so I do have one more question. And then we can get off 2A and maybe hit 1 or 2 current events. Do you think that there is... Do you think we should get rid of the ATF? Do you think there's any need for the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms agency?
I feel like none of those are Like I think the ATF only really concentrates on firearms. Being bootlegging is not a thing anymore, and tobacco is.
I'm not really
pretty
sure
much on its way.
Why tobacco's a thing.
I think it's just because they can just do AF, as because it'd be like as fuck, you know.
It is. I might have to start beeping you. That is harsh. What did Biden call it? FAT or something like that, or not FAT?
Ooh, yeah, it's fat, man.
I know he did not get the letters right.
Yeah, it is fat. I mean, it's an anagram for ATF. Fat cats of Washington.
Well,
no, but there is no reason for the ATF. I don't know. I don't know how they. Maybe if. Well, I mean, they deal with explosives and shit too, though. I think.
Well, they do. That's part of it. Like the last company I worked for, when we actually had to use explosives for work, like it is like you constantly have to inventory it and submit that to the ATF. So,
I think for that reason, yes.
So wouldn't that be ATFE? Because I think it is actual alcohol, firearm, tobacco, and explosives. Like I think ATF. I did it backwards.
Yeah, but I think you can just drop the AT part because
I think you can drop the F part. Drop it like it's hot. Because here's a problem I had with the ATF. Like I don't have a problem with having an agency.
I don't have. I mean, if they're going like, because there are illegal guns in this country. I mean, there's people that have them illegally.
That's what they should be focused on, though. Tracking down illegal guns, not coming up with. And here's the problem I have with the ATF, though, is they took a vague law passed by Congress and they used that to make up their own laws. This is an unelected, non-representative agency that can, with the snap of their fingers or send of an email, turn millions of people into felons. And that's why a lot of agencies are, and that's why I think that needs to be. If we actually had a true Second Amendment, the ATF would be limited to tracking down gun crimes that has to do with illegal guns, not.
And that's what they should be doing.
Bullshit.
I don't understand why they shouldn't be making up any kind of regulations or anything like that. It should be just tracking down illegal guns coming into the country and people who own illegal guns illegally. I think that should be the firearm part, and obviously the explosive part, and just get rid of the alcohol and tobacco because
I don't understand.
I don't even understand what's the tobacco part.
I don't know.
What have they ever done for tobacco? I don't.
Maybe way back in the day when it first formed, that might be worth looking into. I just think the ATFs are worth. They probably do some good here and there, but really they're mostly a bunch of people that sit around and have no idea what they're talking about and just look for ways to make stuff illegal.
And I've realized since COVID, the government has tried to push a lot of policies through channels they shouldn't be, like the CDC mainly, and other entities like the ATF. Like you can't be pushing policies through what'd you call it? I can't remember. Voted in people.
Non-representative. Elected agencies.
Not voted in people. I like not voted in people.
They didn't get the papers.
But I mean, obviously, that's what happened. That's why the mask mandates on planes was kicked out because it was through the CDC, and the CDC shouldn't be able to make any kind of mandates. Mandates had to come through your elected officials. If mandates are even legal,
I don't think any mandate is legal.
They should be voted on through Congress.
I don't think you should be able to vote on it, though, period. Like we said in a previous episode, I don't care what's going on. If we're either a free country or we're not, because if they can suspend your freedoms, then they're not freedoms.
Yeah.
They're not. It's like you have permission. Like, here's the thing about when they ended that mask mandate, and I'm sure there's a lot of people like, oh, look, they're all cheering and taking their masks off. I did not see that as a win. I saw that as pathetic. They're like, oh, you're allowing me to not have to wear a piece of cloth over my face? Thank you. And by the way, the Biden administration is going to appeal that because they want to be able to make sure that the CDC has that power to use in the future. It's like,
and they shouldn't have that power.
no, you flat out don't.
They can make a suggestion, and companies should be able to go off of that suggestion and make their own policies. You shouldn't have to be mandatorily made and fined if you don't go by the policy of a government agency. I mean,
Well, what do you think of all the people freaking out about it?
I think they're fucking, I don't know, fucking butt eaters. I mean, they're controlled.
You were just dead set on making sure that every future episode is labeled as explicit.
Butt eaters is not explicit. I'm pretty sure
I don't even know. I've never even heard that before.
I don't know. They like butts.
I'm just putting words.
put words together. But
That means they like hot dogs because those are made out of lips and assholes.
yes. See, you're the one cussing. I didn't say it.
No, I just quoted The Great Outdoors.
But no, I think they love not thinking for themselves. They love when the government tells them what to do. They have no, I wouldn't say they have no not self-respect. They have no drive, I guess. I don't know. They want to be controlled. They're puppets.
Well, what I think is weird about it is like, so all these people are freaking out, and they don't give a shit about anybody else. These people that are like, up in arms about it. But if you truly believed in the masks, then why aren't you comfortable with you just wearing your mask yourself and not worry about what other people are wearing?
That's the same thing about
If they work.
Why worry about somebody gets vaccinated or not? I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, it's you imply this all the way through. You have to take control of your life and not worry what the fuck anybody else is doing. This is what the internet has done to people. It's what social media has done to people. Is for some reason everybody thinks they have to have a part in everybody else's lives. When you don't, you have to have a part in your life and your family's life, and that's it.
Yeah, that is true.
So when somebody, basically, when I get in arguments on Facebook, it's because I'm bored. I don't really give a fuck what they think. Could care less. Or Twitter. I don't care what anybody else thinks. But it's fun. It's fun to make people angry. And it's fun to make funny comments. Because you're like, hey, if I can make somebody laugh today, good on me. And it's just fun to make people, angry with common sense and logic. Common sense and logic. Ugh.
I just pulled my back.
But I mean, but in reality, I give a shit less about what the hell they think because it doesn't affect me in real life. And I don't know. These people act like the government wants to do something in their best interest, and the government does nothing. The government should do something in your best interest, but elected officials are greedy and they do what's in their best interest.
It seems that way, yeah.
So,
I just think it's weird. It's like how people are like upset over the fact that control has been lifted away from them. Like, that's weird.
that is weird.
That's what I don't get about it. It's like, no, make everyone wear a mask. Because I guarantee you, there's probably going to be people that, from this day forward,
Well, these
always
are
wear a
the
mask.
same people that have the Ukrainian flag on their Facebook page. Their Facebook logo. We want Ukraine to have their freedom when we want nothing but anything but freedom.
There is an actual reporter. I forgot what. It's one of the alphabet stations, but he actually took up arms and joined like a Ukrainian militia and is fine.
Yeah, I think it was like CNN or something.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's them or MSNBC, something like that. But
It might have been MSNBC, which I am super.
the funny thing is, though, the guy made a comment. Because the Russians, I guess, are controlling the Chernobyl area. It's like, why do they want the Chernobyl area? And the dude's like, because it powers the central northern part of Ukraine. What? I hate to break this to you, but Chernobyl hasn't putting
Wait a minute, he
power
thought
out.
that.
He thinks that Chernobyl's putting out power.
I mean, even if you didn't know it, there was a pretty big show on HBO called Chernobyl, and it was really good.
Was that the one where they put the dome thing over it? That was super cool.
Do they still have a dome? Or
they made that because the concrete
because the
thing
radiation,
they put over it was
started to deteriorate, right?
It's just funny. He went from that to, I mean, kudos to him. I mean, you believe in what you want. You know, he took up arms against the Russians with the Ukrainians. But it's just like, so.
You know nothing about this country.
Or just, what you would think is common sense world history. Like, you think everybody by now would know that Chernobyl is the site of a horrendously bad nuclear power plant explosion that was caused by
the worst power plant explosion in human history.
Yeah, and it was caused by shoddy workmanship and not following procedures and stuff like that. So it's not that nuclear power is bad. It's that was done lazily.
Yeah.
New word.
New word. I know 3 Mile Island. That was nuclear, right? That was a nuclear. What happened there? I can't remember.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I know of it.
I know that we have an island. I don't know if it's in the northeast. Might be, but there's like this
island.
Nah, there's this small island that has a concrete dome over it where we buried a bunch of nuclear waste, and we're like, it's not ours anymore. It's yours, and it's the dome's about to fail. So, yeah.
Ooh, nuclear fallout.
Yeah. So, and we're like, nope, that's your island.
How close is it to us?
Well, us as me and you, not very close.
Americans.
I don't know. I gotta look it up.
America,
but for
in general, or is it just like in the middle of the ocean?
I'm thinking like
Europe?
For some reason, and I could be very wrong because I don't fact check myself.
I like how you're just like. And
all I know for a fact is there is a small island with a concrete dome with a bunch of nuclear waste underneath it, and the dome is failing. And I'm thinking it might be in the northeastern part around Canada, but I could be totally wrong on where it is in the world. I just know we had something to do with it.
I'm sure we had a lot to do with it. Okay, well, so be it. And, I did not know that. I didn't know we had an island with a dome over it.
We don't. We gave it away.
Nuclear waste. Did we give it away? Like, or we just like, we're done with it.
We
built the dome.
We washed our hands of it. Washed our hands of
it. America.
Everyone's got their skeletons.
Your problem now.
Ours just happen to be radioactive in certain circumstances.
I don't know. Is there anything really in general news that you really want to talk about? I don't think really anything that important.
Well, there was that one thing that is not super important, but I have a problem with, and that's that doxing thing that happened with Libs of TikTok.
Oh, the chick. Was it Taylor Lorenz?
Yeah, I think that was
versus Libs of TikTok.
That was. I think that's horseshit for a number of reasons. One, well, for one thing, the Libs of TikTok have gotten canceled or shut down like at least two times. And they're saying it's like anti-trans or whatever. It's like all that page does is take videos that people created and uploaded to the internet and then shares them so people can see them. And then that reporter posted her address, like harassed her family. And I think doxing, for one thing, that person's a loser. I saw her on some show where she was blatantly fake crying about. And here's the funny thing is, she's fake crying and having this meltdown about having PTSD over like they people were mean to me and I had to break all my connections and blah blah blah. And then like 2 weeks later, she's doxing this other person, which is just more evidence that she's full of shit. But I don't know. I think doxing is stupid.
That see you next Tuesday is a total piece of crap. And now that you know what that means,
I do.
All right. So yeah, she's a piece of shit.
Well, I think doxing is dangerous though, not just for the people that you're doxing, but like, okay, so you give out somebody's address, and some crazy jackass goes to somebody's house and tries to do something stupid. Depending on who you're doxing, that person might not make it off the property. I mean,
That's exactly the problem.
you don't know what people are going to do with the information that these morons are putting out.
And here's the worst part: the Washington Post put down all her home address. The Washington
Are they
Post.
liable for anything that might happen because of that, though? Like, I don't know how this works.
I don't know either, but they should be, because major news organizations should not be putting out people's addresses. Period. And technically, what they did was they put a link to some registration she had.
So no, okay. So here's how they found her address. Okay, there is this, and I don't know the names. I was going to look it up again, and I didn't, because let's not get ourselves. I'm a little half-assed, but there is a organization that basically like scrubs Twitter, and by scrubs Twitter I mean like people on the right, and it saves everything you do. So like if you say something and then you delete your account, this program saves it. And then it cross-references stuff, and that's how she got her address through this dude who runs this company that I can't remember what it's called. But I do know it gets its funding from the German government, which is super random.
Weird.
And sketch.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't know what that's
I don't
all
know.
about.
Here's how I feel about doxing: is you're a piece of shit if you dox somebody.
Yeah, I mean, we don't go around like, if we say something on Twitter or something like. Now, if you're like talking shit directly to us, like on our Twitter feed, then yeah, we probably will be like,
I'm probably going to call out your Twitter handle as
whatever,
blah, blah, blah said. And then you're probably going to make it out of the show. Because I'm going to be like, blah, blah, blah told me that, I'm ugly and I look stupid.
But that's different than like, they're
that's
interacting directly with us.
And I am ugly and I act stupid.
But that's not doxing, though.
No, I mean,
calling out a Twitter handler is not doxing, but even then, though, like when you read that one tweet, like you didn't use the guy's
Twitter handles. I don't want anybody to fucking go after him for being an idiot, but I mean, he was. I mean, he put it on Elon Musk's Twitter feed, so I'm guessing he got called out by more than me.
Just look for the stupid tweet comment on Elon's tweets. Oh wait, you're gonna be sorting through.
Oh
them.
my god!
There's so many
people who are praising, saying that. I don't know. I can't handle the hypocrisy of people.
Well, and that girl makes her living. Like, she's supposed to be a technology reporter. Like, that's her.
What
that's
she
her
does is she
job.
finds people she doesn't like online and she doxes them. And she's done it multiple times. So, I mean, what she is a huge hypocrite. Then she cried when people started.
Oh my god! Did you see that video though?
Oh my god,
that was not crying.
No.
It's like it was so bad, and the host is like, "It was terrible.
It's horrifying.
It was horrible."
I know, it was so bad. Like, lady, take an acting lesson.
I'm just.
It
saying,
was bad. I'm just saying.
Is there any way you can pause it so I can put some vaccine?
Can you rub an onion under my eye? I mean, it was bad.
People are just, and it's not even just for people. Just nowadays,
it's
so
because
damn fake.
people need attention, and they need, and that's I don't know. She's probably some kind of fucking narcissist that thinks that nothing's her fault and that
She is 100%
everybody's against her and that she's always right.
Oh, and I meant to say Visine, not vaccine. Give me some vaccine to squirt my eyes.
Can I do a little PSA for people?
Yes.
Okay. So.
Wait. And go.
So if you're a person that talks about how good you are and how good you are at something and like you constantly brag about how good you are at, let's say, work or whatever, I just want to let you know that 95% of people think you're a piece of shit.
The more you know.
Well, it's true though. And here's how I always know how somebody's going to be the worst worker on my job site is when they tell me how hard they work.
Oh, the person on the
when
job
they brag,
site, the best worker you've ever had.
When they brag how hard and how good they are at working, they are the biggest piece of shit. So in life, I just took that from my work life and transferred it to my personal life. When you brag how good you are at something, you're a piece of shit. Like,
Are you
no, I'm
insinuating
I'm not
that-
saying like if I ask you if you're good at something, then you, or if you're an expertise at something, like when you just bring it up to me out of nowhere, and like saying, I'm David, and I'm the greatest, I don't know, engineer in the world, and I'm assuming your building's gonna fall because you're a piece of shit.
Well, I have my general response to people that I get. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna be the worst worker you've ever had." I'm like, all the best workers I've ever had on a crew have never had to tell me that.
You know how they tell me they're the best worker? They just do their work.
All right, so what does that mean? Well, what does that mean when we say we're awesomely mediocre, Kevin? Are you talking shit about us too?
We are awesomely mediocre. I'm not saying I'm great. I'm not saying I'm great at this. I'm probably horrible at it. And you all can tell me I'm horrible at it. I don't understand why.
It is somewhat contradictive, I guess, if you're awesomely mediocre.
I'm barely above average in everything I do. So most time below average. So
Skating through life.
I'm barely skating through life. Like, I don't know how I'm still alive. So just hanging in there day by day.
Well, thank you for that PSA, Kevin,
Yeah.
because we all know that knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe!
That's American hero.
America hero! All right.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we touched on that one because I thought that was jacked.
Yeah, oh yeah. I don't know. I think we hit the only other one I really had was mass Band-Aid on planes, and we hit that earlier.
Yep.
So I think we are good this week.
Talking about freedom!
Like Biden, I'm gonna have the East maybe.
What happened, Kevin? Too much freedom for you?
Like the Easter Bunny to Biden, I'm gonna lead us out of here, Josh.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm Kevin.
Hop us on out, Kevin.
I'm Kevin. Okay. Are we just gonna
Wait, what?
All right. I'm leading us out, Josh. All right.
Well, you got to do it. I don't know why you didn't do it to begin with.
Do what? I'm leading us out of here. I'm
All right,
Kevin.
do it. And I'm Josh.
And this was the lost art of common sense.
We'll see you next week, everybody.
Common sense.